Good evening. I decided to make a video while we still can communicate and make videos. We do not have much time left to get prepared, and it's pretty much event what everyone was waiting for. Event in progress. It's just not very pleasant, What happens to you when you experiencing extremely horrific nightmare? It's usually two things. You either wake up, or the second scenario, you realize inside a dream that it's just a dream. That a safety mechanism that your higher self is actually does not allow you to experience something that horrific. They were talking about Vision 2020, and that was their signal to start the event. And event include pandemic, economic collapse, hyperinflation, martial law, starvation. And I do not wish to experience any of that. But I also do not want to see my closed ones and my children to suffer. So by seeing all of that playing out, we must prepare. We must prepare. And we already know what's coming. So please take this situation very seriously and watch this video and start preparing, because time is very short. We might have 10 days left. It's for United States, because we are pretty much repeating what happened in Italy, China, and other countries. We have a little bit more time to prepare, and we're actually able to see what's happening. So let's see. First of all, geometrical progression.
Single drop of water in the middle of your left hand. The magic part is that this drop of water is going to double in size every minute. At first, nothing seems to be happening. But by the end of a minute, that tiny drop is now the size of 2 tiny drops. After another minute, you now have a little pool of water that is slightly smaller in diameter than a dime sitting in your hand. After 6 minutes, you have enough water to fill a thimble. Now, suppose we take our magic eyedropper to Yankee Stadium, and right at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, we place a magic drop way down there on the pitcher's mound. To make this really interesting, suppose that the park is watertight and that I handcuff you to one of the very highest bleacher seats. My question to you is, how long do you have to escape from the handcuffs? When would the stadium be completely filled with water? Would it be days, weeks, months, years? How long would that take? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. The answer is you have until 12:50 on that same day to figure out how you're going to get out of those handcuffs. In 50 minutes, our modest little drop of water has completely managed to fill Yankee Stadium. Now let me ask you the more important question. At what time of the day would Yankee Stadium still be 93% empty space, and how many of you would realize the seriousness of your predicament? Any guesses? The answer is 12:45. If you were sitting idly in your bleacher seat waiting for help to arrive, by the time the field was covered with less than 5 feet of water, you would only have 5 minutes left to get free. And that right there illustrates one of the key features of compound growth. The one thing I want you to take away from all this is, With exponential functions, the action really only heats up in the last few moments. You sat in your bleacher seat for 45 minutes and nothing much seemed to be happening. And then in 4 minutes, bang, the whole place was full. This
I'm contacting you exactly. Maybe even not 5 minutes. Probably 2 minutes before the water. You're not gonna have time to escape. That is very good channel. I would recommend you to check it out. He does analysis of coronavirus situation, also financial situation, and I found him actually. I came up with the same conclusions. He just a little bit better explaining stuff. So please.
Now, a bus passenger infected a fellow traveller sitting 4.5 metres away. So they looked at the CCTV footage of this bus. They worked out that this person couldn't have got infected any other way, but he got infected from someone who was sitting 4.5 metres behind him. This shows how this virus is transmitted in closed environments, in a closed-in bus, in cold weather. So closed environments, crowded environments, like buses, are going to spread this infection. So that gives evidence for that. And this is about twice the distance we've normally recommended as being a safe distance. So in closed environments, proximity becomes less of an issue. We're talking about 4 metres or more here. Closed environments with air conditioning, the transmission distance of the new coronavirus will exceed the commonly recognised safe distance. Now, they also showed that another passenger who got on the bus 30 minutes later was infected by a passenger who'd got off 30 minutes before who was infected. And again, the Chinese epidemiologists did a lot of work on this. They were able to eliminate other causes of infections. And they concluded that the virus had been in the air in the bus for 30 minutes. And they concluded it was in the air in the bus, not from a surface, because the passengers were on different parts. They travelled in different parts of the bus. And the same study also studied how this virus, the COVID-19 virus, can survive on surfaces. And it can last on surfaces at 37 degrees centigrade, 98 Fahrenheit, for 2 to 3 days on glass, fabric, metal, plastic or paper. So even when it's warm, it can survive for several days. So this does explain why we've seen spread in Singapore, Hong Kong, and warmer parts of China and southern parts of the United States. So at lower temperatures, the assumption would be, although that's not published in this particular research paper, is that at colder temperatures it could survive for considerably longer than that.
So that is very, very dangerous virus. It spreads out. How many of your kids actually using school buses to get to school? What is a perfect way to infect our children, don't you think? 30 minutes staying in the air, 4.5 meters radius, which is you can transfer it into feet. It's I don't know how many feet it is. Also, the virus lives inside the feces up to 5 days. It also can be spread by fart. If somebody farted and the person is infected, you can also contract this virus. It's just a perfect disease to create worldwide outbreak. World Health Organization announced today that this spread of virus is finally pandemic, which we already knew it will be pandemic anyways. So just get ready. And as I already said, a crash of economy is imminent. If anyone who has money, you're gonna lose all of the money. So if it's just get prepared, be smart. Like, I do not have any savings. I do not have bank accounts or 401k or stuff like that. So I personally don't have to worry about it. But if you do have it, I would suggest withdraw money and use it for something that you can actually see and touch and have it not in a bank. Some stuff that you're gonna be able to hold on to. That's my advice, because you will lose everything. Okay, and that is
This clearly puts people working.
that is his channel. That's Dr. John, the one who where you can watch this research, which has been done by Chinese people about the virus, and it's very, very accurate. And the Peak Prosperity, he's really, really good too. So check him out. He's analyzing stuff, and it's pretty accurate. So how is this virus being created?
Titled The Eyes of Darkness, where it gives details of this virus, this bioweapon created outside the city of Wuhan called the Wuhan 400. But one thing I found interesting as well with this book, where it states around the year 2020, a severe pneumonia-like illness will spread throughout the globe, attacking the lungs and the bronchial tubes and resisting all known treatments. Also more baffling than the illness itself will be the fact that it will suddenly vanish as quickly as it arrived and attack again 10 years later, then disappear completely.
Well, it's in this book, and I like how it says it will suddenly vanish as quickly as it arrived. How about we imagine this virus attacking and specifically killing people without crown chakra? They're already expendable for the matrix because they provide zero energy. Well, they can extract energy from us, but if we're not giving away our energy, they cannot produce any. So let's use our creative power to turn this virus against them. This way they're gonna have no choice like to stop the virus. This is the book, how it's been created.
Was a nuclear war. That's why we had a barrel like this down in our basement filled with cans of food and water. When the nuclear attack came, we were supposed to go downstairs, hunker down, and eat out of that barrel. Today, the greatest risk of global catastrophe doesn't look like this. Instead, it looks like this. If anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus rather than a war. Not missiles, but microbes.
That's one of the parasites who created this scenario, by the way.
Would be less than human if we didn't. But the fate of the nation, perhaps the world, is in our hands. We dare not refuse this burden. I'm confident that each of you.
How many of us watched this movie, Outbreak?
How we we
I was one of
creating
them.
these scenarios. First, we're creating these scenarios inside our imagination, and after that, it's play out in physical realm. So, there is a game. There is a lot of teenagers
Oh
playing.
wow, it spread 15 million people infected in a day. Dude, that's more explosive than I expected. Okay, so transmission, we start off with bats. Bats are thought to be the natural reservoirs, missing an R, of almost all coronaviruses, including SARS and possibly MERS. Typically, they do not transmit the disease to humans, but this time they did. That too. Host shifts usually happens when bats having contact with other wild animals. The spike protein of the virus mutate to adapt to a novel host receptors. This does nothing for 3DNA, but let's pick it up for the story. Then we have Wildlife's 1. Wildlife's? Okay. Wildlife's.
That's how they're using our kids to create reality. Like kids playing this fun game, and they actually thinking all the aspects of the virus, how it will affect. It's complete scenario, and now it's playing out in our reality. And who created this virus? Bill Gates, one of them, and in October 2019 they actually ran a simulation, and yeah, watch this video. Let me see. Lost messages. There we go. 65 million deaths in 18 months period. Event simulation occurred 2 months before coronavirus outbreak. And underneath you actually see who is responsible for that.
It began in healthy-looking pigs, months, perhaps years ago. A new coronavirus spread silently within herds. Gradually, farmers started getting sick. Infected people got a respiratory illness with symptoms ranging from mild flu-like signs to severe pneumonia. The sickest required intensive care. Many died. Experts agree unless it is quickly controlled, it could lead to a severe pandemic, an outbreak that circles the globe and affects people everywhere.
Point that cooperation among supply chain providers or
Here is some
businesses
of the
that have
faces
huge
and names
supply
of the
chains
criminals.
can add a lot of efficiency to the whole process.
The question is, can you, through this international mechanism, really
That's a
promote
mass
commitments
murderers.
to doing this as quickly as possible and give people a sense that actually if they
Look at their
contribute more,
faces.
that they will have a better chance of protecting their own populations and their country's security and health.
So to be completely clear, most of this production would already be committed in contracts.
Yes.
It is almost unheard of that people are producing product without having a forward commitment for the consumption of that product. So the first thing that needs to be done, because this is not something that the countries currently control, unless countries are going to bring about emergency situations and co-opt an existing supply chain.
And how can false information be effectively challenged? And what if that false information is coming from companies or from governments?
I think it's very important that we make sure that there is concise communication with all healthcare facilities where these patients are being treated so that there isn't mass panic.
We're at a moment where the social media platforms have to step forward and recognize the moment to assert that they're a technology platform and not a broadcaster is over. They, in fact, have to be a participant in broadcasting accurate information and partnering with the scientific and health communities to counterweight, if not flood the zone of accurate information, because to put the genie back in the bottle of the misinformation and disinformation is nigh impossible.
One thing we haven't spoken about, and I'm wondering whether it's time to talk about this, is a step up from the part of the governments on enforcement actions against fake news.
I personally do not believe that trying to shut things down in terms of information is either practical or desirable. And we do have, I think, a couple of strategies that are available to us, one of which is the flood strategy, second of which is relying and informing and equipping trusted sources of information with the facts so they can then pass that on. But we also need to actually think about a technological answer to this.
The outcome of the CAPS pandemic in Event 201 was catastrophic. 65 million people died in the first 18 months. The outbreak was small at first and initially seemed controllable, but then it started spreading in densely crowded and impoverished neighborhoods of megacities. From that point on, the spread of the disease was explosive. Within 6 months, cases were occurring in nearly every country. The global economy was in a free fall. The GDP down 11%. Stock markets around the world plummeted between 20 and 40% and headed into a downward cycle of fear and low expectation. Businesses were not borrowing, banks were not lending. Everyone was just hoping to hunker down and weather the storm. Economists say the economic turmoil caused by such a pandemic will last for years, perhaps a decade. The societal impacts, the loss of faith in government, the distrust of news, and the breakdown of social cohesion could last even longer. We have to ask, did this need to be so bad? Are there things we could have done in the 5 to 10 years leading up to the pandemic that would have lessened the catastrophic consequences? We believe the answer is yes.
That's the last messages video, part 17. Please watch it, and it's out there, and you can see who actually created this virus. And there is no doubts about it. What we can do as right now, the government gonna do nothing. The people around you gonna do nothing. So you're pretty much responsible for yourself and for your close ones. You must stay home. Fuck your job. Don't go there because your life and life of your closed ones are more important. Stay home. Have food enough for at least 6 months. Also, when hospital's gonna be overwhelmed, and if you will contract the virus, you must have antibiotics. This is amoxicillin, but you also need like Cipro or stuff like that. It's also, you can buy this is fish antibiotics. So look it up, fish antibiotics, and this is like amoxicillin, 500 milligrams, see, and 100 capsules, and I paid $24, I think, or 27, something like that. So stuff like that. As far as disinfectant, I'm using personally this solution. It's 34% hydrogen peroxide. Really good stuff. So to use as a disinfectant, you pretty much make 0.5% solution and you spray everything with it. How to make 0.5% solution? You get 15 milliliters of 34% H2O2 and mix it with 1 liter of water. Okay, and you can spray the surfaces, spray clothes, spray food. This solution, when it decays in